Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Genshin Impact. It is far too early to be having opinions and such, but I've been holding this opinion in for a good bit. But, ladies and gentlemen, as we can see, also we're not on the set, it's super dusty. I've been looking at it every time I've edited and I thought, what a fucking slob. So we're here. Okay, I've judged myself into submission and here we are. Okay, anyways. Version 2.2 special program. We finally know it's to come in Genshin, the next batch of content. And let's start with the good, because I feel like, especially with just the emotions in the ocean kind of situation, or the motions in the ocean, so to speak. It's a saying. Anyways, I want to talk to you guys about the good parts before we get into the, of course, critiques. I do think there are good parts. So first of all, this right here. So first of all, I'm not going to cover the parts that I'm frustrated with just yet. So first of all, fucking Thomas, we're going to talk about it in a couple minutes here. That's a win. He's a very cool looking character. Yes, he's another fire character, but it's still something. I don't know. Thomas to me is not an L. Having a hangout for Thomas and Sayu before Xiangling or Xinyan is a little weird, but we get a whole event, maybe possibly kind of about her, so maybe that's finally her getting some attention. I do believe she still gets attention in the event, this event that I haven't completed the quest of. But anyways, the new enemy types look sick as hell. Will they be going away immediately after the event's done? God, I hope not. For love of God, please no. Anyways, this right here, this to me is something that, like, well done, Mihoyo. It's probably going to go away in a week, but still, with the like current criticism going on with Mihoyo, this to me is the one thing that I think they are doing significantly better than they have in the past. The event that's going on right now, yes, it was followed up by an event that was basically nothing. It was just an expedition event, not great. But the event that's currently going on right now, the Leeway event, and before that one, it was the Baido event for Inazuma, where basically it's one event, but there's 3 different types of things to do. So if you save the content for like the last 2 days, you can play a good bit for those last 2 or 3 days. So like this whole thing is actually allowing you to play for longer. Now, yes, it's still very limited, and yeah, so that's the little negative part, but it's getting better. It's getting like you can actually start playing for longer periods of time, because there's just not one string of like, hey, go deliver food, and you can only do 3 runs a day. Instead, it's like, no, you can hunt for chests if you want, you can go do some story events, you can go do some like quick, just murder a bunch of bad enemies, and just keep doing that over and over and over again. Or no, you can do that a good bit, not too much, but a good bit. But anyways, it's a step in the right direction from the previous events that we've had. So this event seemingly is the same thing. It's kind of what people were assuming was the case when people said, I really want a replayable dungeon. Well, we heard about that in maybe possibly Leak Land, and we got this basically. It seems similar to the Fight Club events, except we get this cute little kind of paper samurai person, which I hope is a pet, and it almost has to be a pet. But it's a fantastic, or I think it'll be really fun. Everything about this seems potentially really fun. The only thing that's a little bit less good, and the thing that could make this event like amazing, and I don't know if they'll ever do it, but if they made the enemies have a really, really low chance of dropping their boss, or not boss, but enemy material, like the Hilitro mask and such, if they gave the enemies that ability, at least there'd be something to do, or a reason to do this on repeat, even though there's nothing really, you don't need, everyone has 2,000 masks, so it's not like it would break the game. It would probably just help new players and give something, a small reason for people to keep doing stuff. This event, I don't know enough about it, and yeah, but to me, the big win is Thomas, and the fact that we're getting events, some of them, that are bigger than normal, and of course, we have like a Leyland's Overflow event, but then we also have events like this, which I understand, this is kind of the argument of, wait, even though it's not for you, it's still for somebody, and they deserve to be taken care of as well. I agree. Especially, well, I mean, yeah, basically you could argue that there hasn't been like a nice fluff event for people who don't like combat heavy stuff too much outside of the expedition event. But yeah, here's your fluff event where you basically can play a beat play kind of game that was very popular in Japan and also in the Western world to some extent. Yeah, if you want, you can play that. It seems fun, all that good stuff. Okay. we will go through this whole thing bit by bit, but I just wanted to do this kind of first. So yeah, those are the wins, unless I'm mistaken. Oh, also, one more win. The fact that we're getting like an Inazuma Serenity Teapot seems sick. Also, like a bathhouse, awesome. It's all fantastic. Also, we can now like have different layers to your like Serenity Teapot. Again, the main problem with Serenity Teapot is the fact that we don't have enough load order. So the minute that you start doing something cool, it's like, and you're done. And then you have to start pulling things, and you end up making like you have like all this land, but fucking nothing to put on it, basically. So you end up making it all weird anyways. Oh, and Hu Tao is a win. I would also say that. So basically the one banner is a win, but yeah. Okay, so now, let me drink some coffee, because it's early morning, my voice is like, what are we doing? Why are we here right now? Why do we exist? Also, I slept in, man. One of those days where I feel like I'm sick and my body was like, stop it. Stop it. Okay, let us get into the biggest L and question mark I have ever seen. This right here, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Why and what? Okay, you guys were telling me when we were streaming that there was some rumblings that fucking Tartaglia was back for a third time. Now, yes, I know people want their husbando. Chill out. Thomas was here. Calm down. Anyways, he's basically the same person, but he will always be relevant. Anyways. Not to say that Tartaglia is bad. Anyways, the fact that we're getting a third rerun from a character, and there are still so many other characters that have yet to be rerun. Albedo, of course, Ganyu, Xiao, who's fucking really loved. Hu Tao, finally, fucking someone, a part of that old gen thing, is here. But the fact that they're like, no. Wait. Child again. And of course, some of you guys were making great arguments for why this is a thing. It's still not a good argument in terms of, like, again, like we just mentioned, eventually it makes sense that other people get theirs. So the fact that he got 3 is excessive, like wildly excessive. And regardless, his banners have never been the most sold banners ever, and he's a character that is fundamentally made to sell banners. His kit is good and usable, but as soon as you unlock his constellations, he becomes a different character in general and can just constantly deliver. Even Hu Tao doesn't have that. So yeah. Regardless, the reason why people were saying that the reason why they wanted to bring back Child again was because Child, at the time of his banners, didn't really ever have a perfect artifact set. I don't know if that's true for his second banner, but maybe it is. But also, Child has never had an iconic weapon. So when he did come out, he never had his like special 5-star weapon. Neither did Albedo. What the fuck? Albedo, but again, I think the argument against Albedo is that right now in the game, there is still no artifact set that amplifies Albedo in a specific Albedo way. Like anything that buffs your ease damage. There's nothing in that game yet like that. So maybe they're waiting to re-release Albedo when they have that artifact set with his weapon, whatever. Apparently, maybe possibly, this is very, very synergistic with specifically, of course, Child. So this is Child's bow. Which it looks more like feathery, so everyone was suspecting this might be Ganyu's bow, but because it looks very feathery, it doesn't really give off the water vibe, but sure. Maybe it's like fins instead of feathers I'm thinking of, possibly, could be wrong on that. Regardless, the fact that a character who has been here 3 times, like to me, if the argument is, well, Child never got his time to shine because he didn't have a weapon and the perfect artifacts, so what the heck? I'm all for getting eventually for people to have another Child. I just don't think that means he should jump ahead of all of the other people who have yet to come out, like Xiao again, and like Ganyu, of course. That's the one I'm the most frustrated with, of course, just to be honest about where I'm coming from and why I'm a little bit more frustrated than seemingly other people. And of course, Albedo. So the fact that he's jumped ahead again, and then the argument becomes, or not the argument, the discussion, or the perspective, I should say, the perspective becomes, well, Albedo he's part of the event quest, so it makes sense that he's there. Well, Kaching's the main header, and Shangling are the main headers in the current event that we're doing right now, but yet they're not on the banner. So like, I'm not sure if that argument makes sense for like, it's not like we haven't had a character that's in the face of the people always, but then not available. Ganyu's been there for constantly, and etc. It's weird. Now, there is a silver lining, but But sure. But also, I'm happy, but I'm also conflicted because it just does not make sense. Okay, so yes, I don't know why they wouldn't just stack Child's banner. Like, it makes no sense. I mean, I guess they look identical, so that people would be memeing and saying, like, you get Water Child or Fire Child. I don't know. Regardless, okay, Thomas. This is the perfect time to talk about Thomas. Thomas, it looks absolutely sick, but the way his kit works, and you guys will see here, is he outputs his ult. His ult is basically a Shincho ult, which is damage amplifying from another source kind of thing. He just outputs a ton of fire waves, but he also outputs a lot of fire waves. So it's not like Shincho, who's on a 2-second timer. It's similar to Ball, seemingly from the gameplay and not least. He outputs consistently, like Ball, every like 0.1 second instead of 2 seconds, which would have been perfect for a very fast attacking character like Child. So I don't know why Thomas was not in Child's banner. Synergy works perfectly with him. Is it to sell both banners? Probably. But it just seems like, I just feel like the end result is just going to be Child not having a very good banner again. So it's just like, shit. So to me, I don't know. To me, as much as I'm like, okay, good, because I was not wishing on Child's banner. He's just not a character I'm actually interested in, and I already have enough burst characters similar to Shincho. Or sorry, not Shincho, Xiao, Hu Tao, now Ball, etc. I already have Razor. I already have like plenty of the characters that have like a limited time to deal damage. Razor's not a part of that, but yeah, he's a burst character. Point being is that Child's banner is going to come out first. That is going to give me even more time to save, and you to save or to wish, depending on what you want. And then we have Hu Tao, which is the most stacked banner ever, dude. They're going to have to shit on this banner like you would never seen, because you got Hu Tao, who's amazing, who is amazing. And you got a brand new character, Thomas, who seemingly is amazing as well. So we'll talk about that in greater detail in a minute. Also, they say something like Thomas will also appear in the event Wish Moments of Bloom, in which he will receive a huge drop rate boost. What does that mean? Is that just like, oh, is that okay? I think they were saying, yeah, he's gonna be a part of, the moment, yeah, he's gonna be in Hu Tao's banner. So he's like an increased drop rate, is just a 4-star that's on the banner with Hu Tao. There's nothing, yeah, same business as usual. Regardless, let's talk about why Thomas is seemingly one of the more endearing and interesting looking characters. First of all, he's just a good bro dude. He seems to be like a mom trapped in a man's body. That may be a sexist. That may be sexist. I forgive me. Actually, I didn't sound right when I said it. Anyways, he just seems great. He seems like he's all about taking care of people. Maybe best dad or big brother, whatever. Big yikes. Anyways, so Thomas, let's go through his attack. So first of all, again, criminal how cool his attack looks. It is so sick. This is again why this is the big pooba. This is good shit. His attack combination looks sick. He like kicks his spear. He does like a sideward like spear throw from his side. Looks amazing. He attacks very quickly. All that's fantastic. But you guys can see that Thomas essentially works as, to me, I think the best way to think about Thomas is to think about him as the opposite of what Shincho is. So Shincho gives you a shit ton of damage output, like a crazy amount of damage output. And he gives you a little bit of like protection. It's honestly nothing. He gives you like water resistance or something. It's just nothing. And every time it breaks, it heals you. So there's a little bit there. But Thomas is the inverse. Thomas focuses significantly more on buffing the person themselves and giving them defense. So he buffs the buff and the defense factor and less of the damage output. But that's not to say that he can't also output a shit ton of damage with his fire. But that's just to say that he seems to focus heavily on defense. So basically your E is this badass fire kick. Seemingly, if some things are to be believed, it's pretty good scaling. And the second thing is that it's going to basically give you a shield that weirdly amplifies as, and this is the thing where it could be subject to change, because who knows, this is the information from a guy, but it's basically whenever you take damage or anything like that, the shield becomes denser and becomes stronger and more resistant. In the live stream themselves, they were trying to talk about how he intrinsically works beyond that, which is the fact that if you cast multiple of his shields, you're going to be gaining more from it. I think that has to do with the fact that when you activate his ult, he similarly gets another shield, Or, if I'm not mistaken, when you pick up a Genesis crystal, or sorry, not a Genesis crystal, a crystal off the ground, it might have the same effect. Regardless, I don't know about all that. All I know is that his shield gets denser and denser and denser, and how you build him, seemingly, is by, of course, leveling him with HP, but probably it's going to be a weird fine line of like, okay, well, unless you could just go full Pooba and just build him like an absolute tank, and he'd be a pretty... Honestly, he'd be a pretty good... I feel like if you leveled up his talents to level 9, he would contribute to being a similar Zhongli effect, outside of the mass burst damage of his ult. But or maybe he might even contribute, because the debuff factor of Zhongli is nice, but like constant fire application if you build him properly, and a shield that's just that tanky, given it's not like scaled down because you build a ton of HP, which densens the shield. If they made the shield like Xiangling's, where you need to have like shield rank 3 in order for it to be even remotely good, and you need to hit 3 enemies with your thing, or build it with a shit ton of energy recharge in order to make that happen, I just don't think it would work as well. So it could basically, they could scale it down so that when you scale it up, it's just kind of okay. But if they didn't do that, then seemingly this could be an amazing Zhongli replacement kind of character, and they both kind of have a similar body type, so some of y'all might like the change. Regardless, he seems like a character that, just similar to Xingqiu, similar to, in some cases, well, honestly, I think more than Baido, similar to Xiangling and stuff like that. He seems like a character that will be here for a long time. There is such a value in denseness, like a person that can protect you and also add to your damage output overall. But there is something to note that I feel like MiHoYo is starting to play with their intrinsic cooldowns, so... yeah, but with the fact that like you're almost always going to be reverse vaporizing if you use Xingqiu and Thomas, because Thomas has a shorter cooldown, so he's going to be applying a lot of fire, and Xingqiu has the ability to hit multiple times, so he's going to kind of step on people's toes in that regard. But he would work really, really well, I think, with Child. Because you'll be reverse melting, vaporizing, but also Child hits really, really hard with his melt status, or reverse vaporize. Ah, man. Regardless, Thomas seems absolutely sick, and the way he attacks and everything. Also, he seems like he generates a ton of particles. Also, it seems like, well, he used to in the beta be able to kind of really pop off, but they recently kind of nerfed some things with his constellations that gave him like the ability to full send him in damage instead of energy recharge. But I feel like you'll just use the energy recharge set on him with maybe energy recharge as your goblet, and then maybe HP or fire. Or maybe honestly it'd be probably fire and then HP, just if you wanted like a simple build that would deliver pretty good to you. But who knows, maybe he scales way more on HP. I don't know if by leveling up his talents, it scales up the percentage of his HP that is given to his attack bonus. So it's just purely, if you have enough talent ascension, just full send HP because the conversion is so good. I don't know anything like that. I haven't looked into it that much. I try to keep an eye on what's to come, but without knowing exactly what is to come. Which is why I'm a little off sometimes. Forgive me to the people who I told you guys many times over that we were going to get Ganyus on Ganyus, and I was dead ass wrong. But to me, it made significant more sense than a third Child rerun. So rough. Anyways, as of these weapons, I only really know about the Polar Star. Actually, I'll quickly go peek into the abyss of what one of these other ones do. I think it's just the same thing as this one. I was wrong. No, those weapons are actually very interesting. Okay, so this is not connected really with these. These weapons can be really interesting. Okay, so this is like a specific kind of hellish build that you could create. Maybe, possibly, who knows? Heard from a friend, could be nothing. This could get changed. Don't listen to me. They could stack your team's energy recharge for elemental burst damage. So they basically, if you have a lot of people like a Baido team, or sorry, like a Ball team or an I team, or Raiden Shogun team, who all have a shit ton of intrinsic energy, Xiangling with that spear could be very good and could give the catch to another person like Thomas who could really profit, or you could just give it to Thomas as well because he would also work with it. The katana, the big ass sword, could be good for what's her name? God damn it, Baido. really good. Well, not for Ball's team, unfortunately. Bullshit. Regardless. Also, the bow could be really good if you have like any other character like Venti or whoever would use a shit ton of energy recharge or need a bunch of energy recharge. But it would stack up to a point in which it'd be good to build energy recharge, but I don't know how much. So I don't know if you just need like 2 characters or 1 character with a shit ton of energy recharge like Ball or like Shincho, given your build for them, of course. And then those 2 characters would be enough energy recharge for your team to get the maximum bonus for these weapons so that you could stop. This makes it honestly quite complicated to, or not quite complicated, but it makes it a little more complicated to build everything, but I digress. These are actually very cool to the meta. Will they be easily attained, or will this just be another kind of nightmarish thing to wish for and try to get? I don't know. I feel like it's probably going to be something that you have to wish for, and it's not something that like you can make with blueprints, but we'll see. The new map, the new like island that we're getting in 2.2 looks relatively cool. It's very Halloween-y, spoopy, all that stuff. But I don't know. It just doesn't really. I don't know. It could be cool. It could be something. Apparently, it's kind of revolving around trying to unravel this like automaton's heart and all these things, and finding out what the Abyss Order's doing with these monsters that they've created within Inazuma. So there's stuff like that. There are rumors and rumblings that these people might possibly be able to circumnavigate shields. So they may really fuck you up into the Spiral Abyss. At this point, hopefully people have convinced you enough to build a Bennett or a Diona to survive in there anyway. Or a Barbara, just to keep your head above water kind of thing. Again, I was really hopeful for this event, but then I did see that it was basically just like we're going to be able to get this. It's the same event shop. Again, I would love for them to test where we don't have the event shop and we just have like, well, we'd just be able to kill enemies and get drops. Hopefully we would still have something like a crown or primo gems to attain. But largely, man, the whole event, like the first reward is just 1 crown and a bunch of shitty gems. Like that does not make you want to play the event. You know what I mean? So that to me worries me. Again, usually Trial 2 is probably where there's going to be a handful of primo gems in there. Also, the thing that's interesting, I think, about this whole bit of business is I believe this event, this one right here, you guys can see event shop closes in 36 days. I think that means that this event that we've just seen, this one, I think this is going to be going on for the duration of the entire update, but I could be wrong. Also, by the way, we're getting a free Shangling. I should have mentioned that for people who are free to play. She is a character that is, you can build her, and she's pretty good, but she's one of those characters where, like, unlike Shangling, who's just amazing if you have her, and yes, if you have enough constellations, she becomes significantly good, but she's still fucking insane with nothing like that. Xin Yan is very, very good too, but when you get Constellation 2, it kind of makes it so that you can always have the best version of her shield. Otherwise, you're kind of weirdly having to play, like, hitting 2 people at once or 3 people at once, which sucks and feels a little, like, clunky. And it feels like she's kind of like really, really constrained as a character until you get C2, and then she's still she becomes good. I don't know if she ever becomes like surpasses everybody because of the way that she was intrinsically balanced with her shield being the weakest in the game, despite it's the whole basis of how she does damage. So if it breaks, it goes away, and you no longer are doing the pulse damage anymore. Anyways. Think of her more as like an ultimate burst character or a main DPS if you have max constellations, if that. Anyways, she's not that she's bad, it's just that I feel like you'd have to work really hard to make her good. That's always what I mean in Genshin when I say someone is not quite worth the squeeze. It's because you have to squeeze a lot. Doesn't mean they're bad, just means that there's more effort than others. Yeah, I think we've covered most things. We just have, like, again, this is the event where we're fighting this big ass automaton. Seems pretty interesting. Also, by the time I get this up to you, the codes might be gone, but always lovely people in our community release the codes that they've released throughout the entirety of this event, or the 2.2 trailer, so they're always there. You can copy and paste a bunch of them and full send it if you desire. Again, the harp one seems like very, very brutal, and largely, and then we got the Leyland's Overflow coming back. We can see that right here. Leyland's Overflow coming back 3 times a week. Very much a filler, kind of like, well, we're just kind of getting ready for the next bit of business. And again, the Serenity Pot stuff, I want to get excited, but what does this mean? Is it just like primo gems, or is this like a harvestable material that makes, or that this flower contributes to you making a very, very powerful food that like heals the shit out you or gives you a bunch more attack, and you can make a shit ton of these if you constantly keep this on rotation within your Serenity Pot? or is this just a decorative item? I still haven't planted my fish, dude. So I'm kind of just like, okay, okay. I mean, yeah, it's okay. We fucking plant, yes. I love cosmetic things, but I love even more when developers are like, but what if we gave them some utility, like it's almost nodding that you do not need to do this, but if you did, you get a little bit out of it. I'd be so thrilled with that. You can also share these around, so that is cool that they're adding like the shareable features. But largely, these people are suspecting this. They have not addressed the kind of like weird things in the room, such as the community uproar, a dislike bombing of Genshin Impact because they haven't been communicating with us about what's to come in the future, about the shitty rewards as of late, and of course the state of certain characters that have been being released, and of course a year in and still no added baseline endgame content, which is people frustrated. People frustrated. And now we have, and this is what I was meaning by like, for people who seemed a little bit more mad, I think this is why. The people who seemed a little bit more mad knew in advance that what we were going to get next is a third child rerun. So basically, that if you've been playing for even remotely a long time, if you're a content creator and you've been playing since the beginning, if you want a child, you would have forgotten him, basically. And the fact that he maybe can like hit hard, the fact that you have seen him so many times has a higher chance of you being disinterested in having him again, even if he could hit really hard. Yeah, so it's not that no one would want him, it's just that I feel like there's a higher degree or odds against people not wanting him because everyone's seen his gameplay forever now, and it's not like you hitting higher numbers is going to unsee that gameplay. And maybe some people could be like, yeah, but I just got into the game, and yes, this is what this is kind of for you. It's for the people who are just getting into the game, or just getting the game and missed those previous banners and really wanted that character, then yes, here it is. I just don't know if a character being here for the third time couldn't have waited until some of the other characters got through, like Ganyu, like Shao, like Albedo. Characters that I feel like the more the community have a given interest in. Anyways, I could be just super out of the loop of the child, but alas, we'll see how good the child rerun is now that he has a bow and now that he can potentially hit for harder numbers. How much people are gonna want him? The reason why I have the perception that I do is because he's been here 2 times. People have seen his gameplay. It's not about numbers. It's about the fact that people have seen the numbers that he does, even if albeit less, so many times. You know, and the events that we have seem fun enough, but nothing like ever seems like it's going to be something that's going to take a good bit of time for you to complete. It seems like you're going to need to do basically nothing. This seems like they're trying to kick our ass, which is hilarious because like this event that seems like it's super beat heavy is where they're like, we're going to scale up the difficulty. Meanwhile, like all of the combat things have been relatively tame, even at the maxed edition of all of them, you know? That's fucked up. I'm biased. I'm playing for a good bit. That's why I say what I say. It's not right. Anyways. But yeah, these live streams are in the works for a long duration time, so it's kind of weird for them. It would be weird for them to kind of shoehorn in something. I would have been surprised. I thought they would have added similar to the Yai Miko kind of part when we were looking at Inazuma for the first time. They popped in and were like, hey, we're aware of this. We'll address this within the coming weeks. Because right now, I think that's everybody's worry is that MiHoYo is just trying to let this blow over. And I feel like that's just a good way for them to not be accountable for the not just the community unrest, if that is at the baseline of what it is, or what they perceive it as. This is like classic stuff that just seems very, very weird to me. Is this part right here, where like to me I feel like it is the most community like just not reading the room. This is like to me this is corporations like thinking what people want. Like people think like, hey, you know what our community really wants? A live stream of the beautiful music in the game, which we hear constantly, and of course we enjoy, but we don't want a live stream about them doing it or at least I don't think a lot of us do. Now, they could have had their cake and eat it too if they were like, okay, we're going to release this music thing, and then at the end, we're going to release a code that gets you one of these people's outfits, whether it's Diluc looking fly as fuck, whether it's Venti, whether it's Nin Wong, whatever. It's one of these people that maybe had a high quantity of being sold. We're going to give you one of these just for free, just so that it's, hey, this is us wanting to do something cool as a as a corporation, and also as a way for us to kind of give acknowledgement to our lovely musicians that work for us, work really hard for us. But also, this is a way to give back to the team. But this seemed like it was purely like angled to be like, this is a community thing. We did this for you, and everyone just like, what? Like, who asked for this? No, I would have rather had 50 Primo Gems than this whole thing that cost millions of dollars to produce. Like, what? What are we doing? It feels insane. But yeah, like again, Kai looking awesome with everyone looks cool. And there's so many like cool designed things here. But that to me seems relatively tone deaf. That to me seems like why no one. Okay, this is just all it's gonna do is aid to people being frustrated with the fact that this is where you're putting resources is in the fucking live stream showcase, which probably cost a lot of money to do, rather than just giving people a free skin, or just even hiring a person. Take all the money that you were to do from that and hire someone for the Eastern whatever. A community manager who can kind of just put out flames and be like, you might want to hunt for these resources when Thomas comes out, because that was the other thing, is that they went on a purge for leaked content, and everyone was like, okay, well, hopefully MiHoYo understands the value that these are giving and the reason why people are hunting for these. It's not just because the boogeyman bad, it's because the boogeyman keeps the other monsters away, kind of fucking thing. So hopefully when they release Thomas, you'll be able to see his upgrade material within the thing right below his time card. Nothing. So it's just like, what is? I just feel like there is. Oh, and it kind of makes sense with with a game that makes so much money. The people, the execs who consistently like are marketing the game, etc. You get further from the developers, further and further and further, and even further from the community, and all of these things. And they look at like graphs going up and shit, but also I feel like graphs are going down. But I don't know. We're in a weird place. Within Genshin. This does very, very, very much feel like a filler patch, especially with Child just being Child. If they had Child and Thomas, at least I'd be able to tell you guys, okay, that combination seems like it was made for each other, but instead they separated them, which to me gives like there's so much less incentive to get Child for a third time. And yeah, who knows? I would be happy to be wrong. I'd be happy that the Child is the most sold banner this time around, now that he has a weapon and artifacts. Maybe my theory about people seeing a character so often for the last couple year and a half or whatever, a year, feels like a year and a half, is wrong. I'm open to be wrong. It's totally okay. But I would be shocked if I was. In this regard, I was wrong about the whole Ganyu thing, but that's because I was here. I keep trying to think about what is logically to happen within Genshin. Like, how could Yoimiya be as fucked up as the numbers say? That doesn't make much sense. There's probably a good odds that they're gonna buff her at the last minute. Bulk can't be that good, especially not with everything stacking on each other. Something's gotta be off. They're probably gotta tailor her back a little bit, or maybe not with Yoimiya, maybe they'll full send her. I don't know. I really have no idea. And then I find out that she is okay in the beginning and then great at the end when you start leveling up her talents. Anyways, needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. There is stuff to be excited for within Genshin. I just think everybody is getting really, really close to the wire of being like, it's time. It's time, MiHoYo. It's either time to communicate and to tell everybody that it is not, the thing that people are wanting is not what they want, or will not be monetarily as lucrative as the other stuff. But I feel like everyone's waiting, and MiHoYo's silence will eventually be their answer. So I don't know. I'm in a place where I was trapped from the start. I started this video frustrated because a couple streams ago I spent like the full week upgrading, leveling up Ganyu's, getting Ganyu's Ascension material, only to find out that we were getting a third Child rerun when other characters haven't had their time to shine. So I've been pretty peeved for a good bit here. And yeah, I probably will be using my sum of Primo Gems that I've been accruing over a long period of time now, because I just skipped a good bit of banners, on Hu Tao. And I'll probably try to get one Hu Tao and a couple of Thomases. Honestly, I would rather have a significantly more Thomases than one Hu Tao. Not that Hu Tao's bad. Hu Tao's amazing. C1 Hu Tao is incredible, and that's what I'd be getting. But Thomas, to me, is a character that I think would be good forever. Like, I don't know how he would be bad. Like, I think you could throw him into any team in the Spiral Abyss and he would perform relatively well. And his 5th constellation is actually pretty interesting, in terms of just him being more of him, which is a very supportive boy. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, sorry to talk your ear off, but yeah, that's my kind of thoughts on Genshin Impact. I would love to hear yours. How do you feel about the child rerun? Are you guys juiced and just fucking revving to go? I'm very excited for Far Cry to come out and for me to dedicate that month to this, and also Tales of Arise. So, but I will still be covering Let It Die, or not Let It Die. Well, yeah, Let It Die too. But if there's content, but of course I'll be covering Genshin. Of course, when there's an update, it just might be a faster formed kind of thing. It may not be us actually sitting there playing it, soaking it in. It might just be like, here's a new event, boppity boppity boop. And I'm bye, and I'm gone, bye. But when the game picks up again, I'll go ape shit. And when Hu Tao banner comes out, we'll see if we can get lucky. Maybe I'm not gonna full send. I'm gonna get Hu Tao, just because she doesn't work with the characters necessarily that I have, but nor does Yoimiya. So, anyways, love you, love you to bits. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Subscribe button over there to my right. 2 videos further that way. Hopefully, you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. And again, I genuinely do want to hear what you guys say about this. Also, if you manage to like or share the video around, thank you so much. I always forget to ask or tell you, or ask, frankly, ask you guys or remind you guys. For those of you guys who tuned into this long and heard me ramble, hopefully you do that. Thank you kindly. Hopefully you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. Very excited for the potential new samurai pet. Possibly, who knows? Let me know what you guys are excited for, and maybe let me know if I'm also absolutely wrong on this. I'm not. Hopefully, I made my point on why I thought Child wasn't the best, smartest option here, and why I don't think giving him a weapon and potentially new artifacts will do anything, or do anything enough to the point where I think it'd probably be one of the worst banners. Who knows? Who knows? Could be. Again, I don't want negative shit to happen, but yeah. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Hope you guys do enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.